Is this the Honorable Leonard Ellerbe?
Yes. Hold on one second, boss man.
All right.
Hey, tell them I'm stepping out for a second.
Well, we do have Leonard Ellerbe on the line, so let's get those questions going. So, Mr. Ellerbe, how are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm just taking a break. I'm at my daughter's basketball game. Just taking a break to do this interview with my main man.
Oh,
So what's going
man.
on, boss?
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you taking out the time. Shout out to Miss Frost for setting this up. We do appreciate you taking out the time. I guess we'll jump right into it. The biggest Mayweather Promotions headline right now is Rolly all over Tank. Is there anything you can tell us about that particular matchup? Is Rolly telling the truth? Does he have this fight? Is that happening in December?
Okay, you kind of just said three separate things. Um, Rolly is looking to fight very soon. Obviously, you gotta love Rolly. Rolly is the type of young fighter that he wants all the smoke. Him, not only him, but there's several other fighters that want to fight Gervonta, and we're taking a look at everything, and we're going to be making an announcement very soon. And Tank will be fighting before the end of the year.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if Rolly doesn't get the Gervonta Davis fight, obviously Davis being the star, what is on the table for Rolly? I feel like he's a very interesting character in boxing and definitely can make a name for himself with that personality and fighting style.
But Rolly's a terrific young fighter, and again, he's reached a point where, again, he's very confident in his skills and his ability. Rolly feels as though he can beat any and everybody that's out there around his weight class and in his weight class. And, you got to love that, that mindset, because confidence is everything at this level especially when it comes to young fighters. So, again, 2021, we're not done with that. It's going to be a terrific, it has been a terrific year thus far, and we're going to end this year with a big bang. Tank's going to be in a big pay-per-view fight before the end of the year.
And not to get too far off Rolly, but a lot of people seemed excited by your suggestion of Tank possibly facing Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman came out and said he'll sign the contract in 2 seconds flat. And then that kind of went dead, and we haven't heard anything else about that. Can you let us know, is Thurman no longer an option, or is he still being looked at as a possible Tank opponent for this year?
Well, one thing about our team, me, Al, and Floyd, one thing we've been very good at doing is that, the less that you put out there to the general public, the more you're going to be successful with executing things. We kind of work behind the scenes, unlike some of these other promoters. The minute they end a conversation, they let, the fans know that, hey, I'm talking to this guy about. That's not how you get deals done. You get deals done by working behind the scenes diligently, doing your homework, having great dialogue amongst the people you're dealing with to actually execute a deal. And we've been very successful at doing that. And we're not going to switch anything up what we're doing. Unfortunately, I know the fans want to know every move you make, but unfortunately, things don't get done that way. With some of these promoters who are loudmouth and they just they want to be seen and want to be heard, and all that. We just play the back and we play behind the scenes. And when it's time to announce something, we'll do that. And as I just spoke earlier, that I'm going to be making an announcement about Tank's next fight, in coming very soon. Gervonta Davis will be fighting before the end of the year in a big pay-per-view fight.
I mean, since I'm your guy, can you at least confirm if he'll be back in Atlanta?
I don't want to say anything what we're doing. One thing that we do know is that as it relates to Tank, Gervonta Davis is going to be fighting before the end of the year. He's going to be fighting in a big pay-per-view fight. The location of that event is TBD, to be determined. One thing about Tank Davis, he's proven that he's a proven ticket seller, and that anywhere he goes, people are going to come to see him because what he's been able to do, he's been a big time attraction and been able to give the fans exactly what they want to see. And that's why, his fans, everywhere he's been, they're paying customers, and he's been doing the phenomenal live gates, and he's become one of the biggest attractions in the sport already at 26 years old.
So, Leonard, I seen you had a back and forth with Ryan Garcia where you, I mean, I guess, for lack of a better word, threatened Ryan to release the document stating that he didn't want to fight, or rather his team didn't want to fight. If you could just give some context or clarity to why the Tank Davis-Ryan Garcia fight never happened, and what may you possibly be holding as proof in the cut there.
Well, see, again, I'm not one. I'm not with all that bullshit about going back. Again, if Ryan Garcia don't know what happened, back in, I think it was February of this year, shame on him and shame on his promoter. Because again, I reached out to his promoter. It's no secret. I reached out to his promoter. I think I made a comment about some of that maybe on Twitter at one point because again, the back and forth. You gotta understand. The boxing business is a little different as it relates to, when it comes to the fans. They don't really understand how these kind of things go behind the scenes. I reached out to Golden Boy, who's his promoter, and to see was he ready to, to fight Gervonta Davis in a fight this fall. And they told me no, and they sent me something in writing. And they told me why. They said he had other plans, and that was the extent of the conversation. They said they had something else in store for him. He had plans. Now whether he has dialogue with his promoter, I don't know. That's none of my business. It's none of my business. But I reached out and I tried to make a deal for a fight, and and that's what they told me. But I'm not saying that what the future might hold. But I'm just telling you what happened this year in 2021. So whether or not his promoter let him know what's going on, that's none of my business. Again, I'm not talking directly to the fighter because again, I would be out of line doing that. You know what I'm saying? I reached out directly to his promoter, and his promoter reached back out to me in writing. It's all fact.
So Leonard, obviously with Devin Haney having a unique and special relationship with Floyd, I'm sure you've watched that blossom over the years, being as though he's been training there since 12 years old in Floyd Mayweather Sr.'s gym, or the TMT gym. Now that he's a free agent, is there any interest for TMT to maybe acquire the services of Devin, or do you feel like you have too many, or you already have the biggest name at 135 and you don't need another?
Gervonta Davis is one of the biggest stars in the entire sport. I personally think that Devin Haney is a terrific fighter, and I'm really, really impressed with the job that, like, basically him and Bill have done, like, getting him to this point, with all the stuff that they did, especially early on with getting him fights at a young age, and more importantly, what I really admire about them, Devin is actually, he's in control of his own business, and Bill and him they've been very mindful about taking the right steps with building that part. Devin was 22 now, maybe?
Yes.
Is he 22?
Yep.
Yeah, he's 22. And he's doing a phenomenal job. He's making millions of dollars to fight. So I have to commend him and Bill for that. I really have to commend and tip my hat off to them that, he's put himself early on in the position where that, he's had some early success without fighting big name opponents and that kind of thing. But again, he's definitely on the right path to to where they're trying to get to. You know, there was definitely interest. Um, Maybe probably before he had signed with Dazn. He had an opportunity to to decide what he wanted to do, especially with that being his first initial contract with being a partner in a situation, and he chose to go with Eddie Hearn and Dazn, and I commend him for that. I'm not no fighter for doing what they do, but what we do over here, all our fighters are fighting in big fights. What I'm saying. I have no control over what anybody else is doing, no say so. All I can do is tip my hat off to them and say, hey, great job, what we doing. But Tank Davis over here, Tank is going to be one of the biggest stars in the entire sport. He is that right now, and he will eventually be the biggest star in the entire sport. And we're going to fight any and everybody who is in our way. And when I say in our way, around our weight class, if this guy is the best that they say at this point, and they bring something to the table, we're gonna make these big fights happen. But they can't happen overnight. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, fight this guy, fight that guy." It just doesn't work like that. I mean, because in these kind of situations, you have to be able to bring value to the table. And there's no knock. I'm not knocking any other fighter what they're doing, but we work very hard with building Tank and putting him into the situation where he's calling the shot, and he's the boss. He's the biggest star out of all these weight classes from 30 to 40. And if anybody wants to refute that, they can. They can debate me on that.
So, my question was, would TMT and Mayweather Promotions be interested in working with Haney now that he's a free agent? He's no longer with with Dazn any longer.
I can't really speak on anything like that because again, they're doing their thing, and I commend them and I applaud them. We're good over here. We're good exactly what we're doing, and I'm sure that Devin is very happy to be in the position that he's in to be able to kind of make certain moves that, again, I commend what they're doing, but we're good over here. What we're doing, we're totally 1,000% good.
All right. Well, let's talk about Caleb Plant for a minute because I interpreted that slightly different than most people. I looked at it like, man, through all my years of watching boxing, I've never really seen the quote-unquote B side take a stance like Caleb and, attack the A side. I think that the slap was interpreted differently because Canelo countered him. He's not getting as much credit for the balls it took to do that. How did you interpret Caleb Plant and Canelo's face-off?
Now, I don't pay no attention to that shit because that shit don't matter. Them two got to fight on, November the 6th?
Yes.
Yeah, they got to fight. All this pre-shit it's all the build-up, and I'm not going to call it hype. It's the build-up to the fight. Them two got to lace up, and they got to step in the ring on November 6th and give the fans exactly what they want to see. And I think it's going to be a terrific fight. And again, I'm picking Caleb Plant to win the fight. Canelo's a terrific fighter. He's a terrific fighter. I think that Caleb has the right style to be able to beat him. That's just my opinion. Others might feel differently, but I see it differently. Canelo's a terrific fighter. He's fought at a high level. He's got a really good resume, and Caleb Plant don't have to have that kind of resume to match him. All Caleb Plant has to do is figure out a way to win more rounds than he does on that particular night. And I think that he has the right style to be able to do that. Some of these fans and some of these media people act like Canelo Alvarez, excluding the Mayweather fight, has never lost a round with fighters that I don't even think are as good as Caleb Plant. That's just my opinion. Caleb has the right He has the right mindset. He's focused. I think it's going to be a terrific fight. I love actually how Canelo is speaking English now. To his where the American fans who the English speaking fans, I don't say Americans, the English speaking fans have the ability to get to know him better. I like that he talks shit now. You know what I mean? It's that all that's going to do is put more money in his pocket. I think this is going to be a monster pay-per-view, and I think it's one that all the fans need to tune in and watch on Showtime pay-per-view on November 6th.
So Leonard, I know kind of your phrase is like, we worried about us, we good where we're at, but does Leonard Ellerbe have a plan that, if given the opportunity, you can put in motion where multiple promotional companies can be under one umbrella to find an easier way to make these fights where there isn't any, Cold War situations?
Man, I'm just being direct. I'm not doing Bob Arum's job for him. I'm not doing Eddie Hearn's job for him. I'm not doing any other promoters. Those guys are good promoters. They got to go out there and build their fighters and put them in situations where they become an attraction. Just like me, Floyd, and Al have done with Tank. Tank's done his part, and we've done our part. It's like at the end of the day, it's not as easy as people think that when they're saying, "Oh, make this fight and make that fight happen," because again, we'll use Arum as an example. Bob Arum's not putting his kid, meaning his young fighter, Teofimo, in a situation where he's in, quote unquote, as you guys say, a 50-50 fight when there ain't no money involved. He's not. I know him. I know how he gets down, and I know how he is as a promoter. That shit don't benefit him at all. And as it relates to, I'm glad you brought the T.O. kid up. It's like, this is an example. It's like, from solely, I think he's a terrific fighter, terrific young fighter. But him and his dad are delusional as it relates to the business. They're just fucking delusional. And it's just funny because it's like when you just kind of go back, and I'm just throwing examples out there. This kid actually thought that he moved Floyd Mayweather off of a date. That just goes to show you how delusional that they are. You know what I'm saying? And right around talking about he's an A side. Okay, belts don't make you an A side. Just again, in some situations, it does. This kid has never even fucking sold a ticket before. He's been in the main event, I think, once, but he wasn't even champ. But as a unified champion, this kid has never even sold a ticket. That's just an example of just, so when the fans say, "Oh, make that fight, make it," Bob Arum's not putting him in no fucking fight like that to benefit him. That kid's got to become an attraction. He ain't sold no fucking tickets yet. Somebody actually just sent me a message and said they just moved off the date that they just had in New York at the Hulu Theater.
Yeah, they moved it
true?
again to the 16th. Yes.
They moved it again. So my question is that, was the Hulu Theater sold out? I'm asking you that question. I don't know.
Honestly, Leonard, I'm a little bit disconnected from that because there's been so many postponements. I just kind of stopped following it, man. Every week is a new date. I mean, he was supposed to fight in June. Then, September, like 3 dates in October. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I'm kind of, tired. It's an unfortunate situation.
At the end of the day, I think, like in his situation, I can't speak on this because I'm a former promoter myself. It's like sometimes when kids have this instant success, instead of kind of listening to their team, they kind of think that they're bigger than what they actually are, And so if you're the A side and you're this big pay-per-view star, then why aren't you selling any tickets?
Totally
understand. That's the question. It's like, so again, you got to go out and figure that part out. It's like you guys got to go figure that part out. You know what I mean? And as it relates to Hearn and any of these fighters that he has, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not doing nobody else, no other promoter's job for them. It's like they got to figure out a way to make their fighters an attraction. How do you do that? We know what we're doing over here. I don't need 125 fighters. I don't need 125 fighters. I need a handful of fighters that I can focus on and put them in the right situation to be successful. And that's been our goal over here. Signing with Mayweather Promotion, you're going to definitely get an opportunity. And it's up to you to make the most of these opportunities that we present you. And that's what we're all about. You know, but again, as it relates, I think that all of these young fighters, I think that as they continue to elevate themselves and win fights against good competition, I'm very confident that they all will fight. Because where are they going to go? Nobody is scared. T.O. is not scared of Tank. Tank's not scared of T.O. Devin's not scared of him. Nobody's scared of nobody. There's no such thing as that. I think these fights just have to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to continue to build our fight and put them in the biggest fights that are possible. The biggest fights out, and it don't matter who it is, and it don't even need to be name specific, because I'm very confident as it relates to Tank. Tank can beat any of these guys out there.
So you brought up
whether it's Haney, whether it's T.O. or Ryan or any of these guys, Tank can beat them all. Very confident of that.
But those fights will be made on your guys' time, though.
Listen, at the end of the day, it all has to make again, I just gave you an example of, like, do you honestly think that Bob Arum is going to put his kid in the fight after all the money he's invested in his kid, and it ain't no money in it basically for him?
No, well, I'm thinking more Devin.
Some of these fights that you guys are talking about aren't really big fights as you think. Tank is the attraction. So won't you put those guys together? Put T.O. and Devin together. Let them make a fight. Is that a big fight? Is that a big pay-per-view fight?
T.O., you know, with his legal situations right now, he's off the table.
Is Ryan and T.O. a big pay-per-view fight? That's a question. I'm asking.
Ryan and I mean, I don't know about big, Leonard. I won't lie. The word big, you know, it's tough to say. But Ryan versus any of those guys, we want to believe is a big fight.
It's not big fights, man. I'm telling you, those are not big fights as you think. They're not big fights. Because I don't want to. I'm not the type of dude that again, it's like I respect all these fighters. They're all doing a tremendous job, and all of them are very good fighters. But when it comes to being the top dog and the guy who's putting asses in the seat, Tank's in a lane of his own. And guess what? Ain't nobody even in the rear fucking mirror. It ain't even close. There's not one of these fighters that we mentioned, and you can actually combine them all. You can combine all these fighters and nobody get a 7-figure gate. You can put them all together and nobody get a 7-figure gate. And any and everything that they all have done.
But what about the combination of one of those men with Tank? Like, you don't think Devin and Tank in Atlanta?
Again. And listen, what's the caveat what you just said?
Yeah, obviously Tank is the common denominator, but that's like Canelo, right? Like when Canelo, when Triple G fought Lemieux and Jacobs had a beautiful story, and it couldn't sell. It only did 190,000 pay-per-views. But when Triple G fought Canelo, it sold more than 1 million. Sometimes it's the combination.
Again, I know the business better than
of course
anybody that's out there. Tank is going to do numbers with anybody, and we're willing to put him in there with anybody. But again, it's like I'm not going to go and do another promoter's job, and they're very eager to build their young fighters. And again, you have to ask them, those kind of questions. And the one thing I will give Bob credit is that Bob will kind of tell you the truth. He will kind of tell you the truth about as it relates to that part right there. Because again, I've heard that kid say that he's only fighting in pay-per-view fights. Well, again, you got to have you got to be in a situation that when you go do an event, that it's going to be something successful. I don't know if you put him in the fight with anybody. Is that a pay-per-view fight? I don't know. I mean, are the fans like ecstatic to see any of these guys fight? I don't know. I don't know. We're doing the things that we need to do to build our fighter into a major attraction. I can't focus on no other fighter and their promotional situation and what they got to do to build their fighters. And everybody wants things, right now in this moment. At the end of the day, we're going to continue to keep our fighters busy and put them in the best situation in the biggest fights that are possible. And what Tank has proven that he's a bona fide ticket seller and he's a major, major attraction. Okay, he's one of the biggest stars in the entire sport right now. And there's only 2 or 3 guys that are in front of him, like, right now. And there's probably only 2 guys. Right now.
I don't disagree, man. I've been to Tank fights. I see the level of patron that walks through the door. I understand what he brings to the table, but it's still the combination.
So my question is, why can't none of these other young guys do that?
I mean, Leonard, there's only one Floyd, right? Like these type of talents come around once in a while.
No, but that part right there, that part is true. So at the end of the day, Tank is calling all the shots, and at the end of the day, I'm very confident he can beat them all. So if your number happens to get called and you're the next guy up, then hey, you're the next guy up. We're not gonna sit around and wait on them to build themselves up. We gotta stay busy and keep doing what we're doing.
But that's why I keep bringing up Haney. He had the main event where Usyk pulled out, and he replaced that main event in the DMV area at the Harbor. And then he had the main event in Las Vegas with Leonard, which was also successful. I was there. A lot of people came to that, and a lot of money. A lot of cars and Lamborghinis was out there.
Where? Hold on, let's back up. A lot of money where?
In Las Vegas for his fight with Leonard. Like, you can tell the level of patron. Like, people showed up in big cars, like it was a lot of different color Lamborghinis. I'm going to say this again. I think Dev's a terrific fighter. Love what him and Bill are doing. Was their event a sellout? No. I believe they had somewhere like over 7,000 tickets, if I'm not mistaken.
I have no idea. I have no idea. They're definitely on the right path to building him as a young fighter, and I think he's a terrific young fighter. And again, I like what they're doing. I really do. But guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? They made a decision. They had a choice to be with Mayweather Productions.
Yeah, but they're free now, Leonard. They're free agents now.
Yeah, and I applaud him for that. He's his own boss. I applaud him for that. That's not a bad thing. I got to focus on what I got. And I'm just being honest. I'm not concerned about Devin or what him and Bill are doing. I applaud them. Especially as, I love to see brothers doing their thing. I love that.
Well, before I let you go, then I would love to get your prediction for Wilder Fury next Saturday. Obviously, it's going down. It's the one. All questions will be answered on Saturday. But what could you tell us? Where are you leaning? What do you think about this fight? Wilder's mindset, his new trainer.
Man, Deontay getting ready to knock him the fuck out, man. I mean, that shit would not surprise me if it's 4 or 5 rounds. Fury's an excellent boxer, you know, whatever. In the second fight, obviously, you know, there were some things that were going on, and I don't even want to get into any of that, you know. But my opinion on this Fury Wilder 3, he gonna knock Fury the fuck out, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see that happen. He gonna knock him the foot, and I know is the title of the fight Redemption? Is that the title of the fight?
I mean, well, he's definitely been saying Retribution. I don't know. They haven't officially put anything.
Well, he definitely going. I see him knocking him the fuck out. That's how I see the outcome of that fight.
And my last question. Obviously, you've promoted some Adrian Broner fights. Eddie Hearn has been in the media saying he sent 2 offers to Broner for the Conor Benn fight. If you have nothing to do with Broner, can you at least give us your opinion if that's a good fight for Broner? And if you still have anything to do with Broner, did you receive any offers for that Conor Benn fight?
No, I hadn't even heard anything about that. Adrian's a terrific fighter. And when he puts his mind to it, he's one of the top fighters out there in the entire world. Again, so it's just I'm always pulling for Adrian, and whatever he chooses to do next, I'm sure he's going to be successful in what he's done. I don't know anything about any offers from Hearn. I don't know anything about any of that. I don't represent Adrian, so again, that's not something, you know, that I would know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so again, wishing Adrian nothing but continued success. He's a terrific fighter. I like him as a fighter and as a human being, and that's that.
Do you like that matchup for him, though? Conor Benn, the son of Nigel Benn, versus Broner. Is that a good fight
I never really watched Ben fight, to be totally honest.
Okay.
I never really watched some fights. I really don't have an opinion on that. I never really actually, you know, watched them. I mean, you know, I just only kind of focus on
Mayweather Promotions.
My areas of responsibility, potential opponents, and you know that kind of stuff. You know, I don't concern myself with other people's fighters because again, they're not my fighters. I'm just only looking for ways to continue to elevate our fighters and put them in the best situation to be successful.
All right.
And if you sign with Mayweather Promotions, that's all you're going to get, nothing but opportunities.
Okay. Well,
But if you're not with Mayweather Promotions, and I want to say, be clear, if you're not with Mayweather Promotions, I don't give a fuck about them, whoever the fighter is. That's just being real.
All right. Well, we do appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much. Obviously, if you want to shout out your social media, son, you can do so. But we do appreciate your time, and especially taking our time right now during your daughter's game. Thank you.
No problem. Anytime. Ness, you know you can always reach out. Reach out to Crystal. Anything you need. Crystal, she's the top in the game. You know, she'll make it happen.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Okay. All right, boss man.
All right.
We'll talk later.
There you have it. Promoter from TMT Promotions, Leonard Ellerbe.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.